Good evening. Welcome to this special session. We are all going through very difficult times. UPSC Civil Services exam is an exam that is known for its precision and dynamicity. An exam that has a clear calendar, a calendar that is announced 1 year in prior. And guess what? This time the exam is facing a postponement. Not for any other reason, but the reason which has kept the world locked down. So we all know that recently UPSC came up with a circular that said the May 31st dated exam will be deferred. 20th of May around they will be taking a decision, and the same press note has a clear idea that 30 days notice will be given to the students. So I'm sure at this point of time, all of you will have a lot of doubts, a lot of clarifications to be made, and a lot of ideas in your mind of how do we go about. For example, the prelims may get deferred. Will the mains get deferred? And if so, how should we prepare in the coming time? If it is getting deferred, when will the exam be? So this is an attempt to address some of these questions. So let's go ahead. UPSC exam 2020. So we are asking what next, why and how. There is a simple quote which says, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. I'm sure all of you will be wondering, there were times when we said sky is the limit, you should always think of flying, and why are we coming down? When humanity is faced with tough situations, man has the situation to adapt, and that is what the demand is. Whatever you do, you have to be moving. There is no reason why you can be stopped or be stagnant. And for UPSC aspirants, especially being aspiring administrators, you know what bureaucrats are facing on ground today, be it IPS officers or IS officers or anybody for that matter. So keep moving, and the exam has to be worked upon. So yes, this is an extraordinary situation and your mind might be full of questions. What next? What will be things? When will be things back to normal? How to endure this time? How to plan? Where to start? What should be the change in strategy, if there should be? And what not to do? The last question is very important, because at this point of time, you will be flooded with suggestions. And here, it is very important to realize what not to do also. So keeping these things in mind, let's answer each one of them. So the first question, what next? When we ask what next, what is necessary is a clarity of when might be the exam problem. So this is the question that we ask. If not now, when? May 31st was the date. Now, if not May 31st, when? For that, there can be some probability that can be worked out. What is the probability? So, when do we get to date? Or when does the date come up? We are trying to make a small prediction. According to us, the probability is there might be the exam which is coming up on June 28th or July 5th. That is, taking in consideration a 30-day notice, the last Sunday of June or the first Sunday of July, that's when the exam probably may be scheduled. Consider, there is also an option that there might be further deferment and the exam may go on to August. And there we are thinking it might be the second or the third Sunday of August. So the question now arises, when do we get to date? Or when does the date come out? So here we wish to make predictions. Predictions not just out of the blue, but based on some considerations. So keeping all considerations in mind, our predictions go on to say the exam probably will be in the last Sunday of June or the first Sunday of July. That's 28th June or 5th July. Or a further deferment, it might be in the second Sunday of August or the third Sunday of August. Now, for us to say these dates, there are certain reasons. So how do we guess? What is the indication? Let's look at that. Indication number one, very recently, Government of India had a very important announcement. JEE, which is an entrance exam for the IIT, and NEET, which is an entrance exam, an All India entrance exam for medical, this is where around 4.5, 5 lakh to 10 lakh people across India gather, and NEET is an offline exam, mind you. These were deferred. MHRD has come up with the dates. So we see that JEE main NEET dates are announced, which is held between July 18th to 23rd. NEET will be held on July 26th. So if government has taken an assessment and MHRD has come up with these dates, so they are looking at an all clear situation where they are expecting to conduct an exam of this scale sometime in July. So this is indication number one for us. A similar indication taken into consideration is another announcement of MHRD, which is indication number two. This is the CBSE 10th and 12th exams. CBSE 10th and 12th exams have dates which are 1st to 15th July. Now only after the 12th exams of CBSE you can conduct the JEE NEET exams. So CBSE and MHRD are keeping a calendar of the entire month of July to conduct their full-fledged exams. And these are all India in nature. Keeping this in consideration, we can expect a probability, as we said, if we are in much early to that, the last week of June or the first week of July, or much after this, comfortably in August, that might be the second Sunday or the third Sunday of August. Now, we are not any master gurus to say exact, but these are probabilities as such. So if this is the assumption, when exam can happen, we now go on to say, what is that you should do? So here is how you are going to tackle the time period that is available. All of us till now prepared, thinking exam is on 31st May. All our test timetables, every strategy was planned keeping 31st May in mind. Many things happened, last 2 months have been unimaginably different. So what is that you need to do? Let's answer those questions. Assuming the earliest date, as of now, we believe all of you should work thinking the exam is happening on June 28th, which means you have about 1.5 months for the exam to happen. Keeping yourself on toes. Till the date is exactly not announced, let this be the date in your mind. Assuming that exam will be on 28th June or 1st July, that is the first Sunday of July. Now we would all suggest all of you should be in the mindset the exam is in the last week of June, so that you are on track. So in that assumption, what is that we suggest is you have a simple mantra to follow, and that would be revise, practice, revise. Revise everything that you have studied till now. Don't go running behind anything new. Practice thoroughly. So do a lot of practice questions, practice all your question papers, old UPSC papers, revise. So revise, practice, revise should be the mantra. Keep yourself on track completely. There is absolutely no room to relax. Blink of an eye and you'll see June here and exam is close by. Consolidate your areas of strength. Those areas where you feel strong, concentrate on those areas. Thorough practice of previous year's question papers. This is something that we repeatedly advise. Previous year question papers of UPSC are a gold mine of information. UPSC's language, idea of asking questions, the way they frame questions is something that you can catch from the previous year's question papers of UPSC. So kindly use them. With all this, please don't forget, eat well, sleep well. All this will be meaningful only when your body, mind and your soul cooperates, work together. So take great care of yourself, all will be well. Going ahead, on that assumption, I'm sure there will be some specific questions like, When the exam is on May 31st, okay, we stop current affairs studies by mid-April. That's what the suggestion generally gives. Paper is prepared, so no need to study current affairs. So what should we do with current affairs? Question number 2. Till when should we take tests? How much more tests should we take? Question number 3. Now that we have considerable time, should we do some mains work also? So let's specifically address these 3 questions. On the first question, on what you should do on current affairs. Current affairs, we all know, is very dynamic, but don't be on the assumption now that the exam is postponed, everything about COVID or everything that has happened in May, June will come, so this is very, very important, right? But that doesn't mean you stop studying also. So taking a middle path, continue studying current affairs as usual, give 1 or 2 hours every day. When should you stop studying current affairs? Probably by the announcement that would come on 20th or 25th May. Knowing the date, you will be able to strategize. So continue studying current affairs as usual, 1 to 2 hours a day. Focus on effective revision. There is good amount of current affairs that you would have studied till now. So general suggestion we give is 1 year. So June 2019 to about April 2020 now. So that 1 year current affairs of all relevant issues that you have already studied, consolidate them, revise them very well. Effective revision is definitely going to help. So revise. Don't break your head on altogether new things or don't run behind multiple other compilations. Revise effectively what you have already studied and the notes that you have already made from. We don't expect anything specific in terms of June or also exclusive May. But there are many issues that have already happened which will repeat. Now those relevant issues will definitely come. So the suggestion is simple on current affairs. Continue your studies as usual, 1 to 2 hours a day. Focus more time on revising what you've already studied, considerable time there. And when you are doing everyday newspapers, relevant issues which are there, you will be able to pick that up. So I hope the first question is answered. Coming to the second question now about tests. Now yes, when we said the 3 mantras, we said revise, practice, revise. How does practice happen? Only study will not help. You need to test yourself repeatedly. How do you test? Test yourself through previous year's question paper of UPSC and the practice test that you have done. So we have a test series timetable that we have given. We have reworked the timetable considering the schedule. So take those tests regularly. Apart from that, kindly do the previous year's question papers effectively. With that, one suggestion is you have written good amount of tests. I am sure most of you would have taken good 20 to 25 tests. Practice those tests once again, which means revise those test papers because you have attempted those papers. You know where you have gone wrong, what is that you are not understanding or where was the confusion. So when you revise them, you will effectively recollect and consolidate that thought in your mind. So that is what you should do on tests. Okay? Going to the third question. A question I'm sure most of them would be thinking, should we do some mains part now? Considering that the exam is postponed, when can the exam be held? Will the mains be postponed? We'll answer that question going ahead. But at this point of time, considering we have 1 month time, presently we are in 9th or 10th of May now. So even if the next 20 days, do we have room to do some mains? If we have to answer that in one word, don't jump into anything. If you feel you're too routinized, you've reached kind of a saturation, then probably 1 hour a day or maximum of 90 minutes a day, you can practice some answer writing. So give some time to answer writing and on which topics? On those topics which have been studying for prelims. Say history, geography, polity or economics. All that you have been studying, you will get questions. On those questions, you can practice answer writing. Practice 1 answer or a maximum of 2 answers per day. Send those answers to your mentors. We will evaluate and get back to you. So that helps you break a monotony in your routine. So that is the maximum that we wish to do on mains part. Apart from that, there are some definite don'ts. Kindly don't jump into an optional. Optional requires an approach, it requires a different thought. At this point of time, with the current assumption that prelims may be in the last week of June or early July, if you now jump into optional, to reorient yourself into prelims will be difficult. So please don't get into optional study. Please also don't get into exclusive mains orientation. For example, a post-independence or international relations from mains perspective, internal security, ethics. These aspects don't get into now. You will get good enough time for exclusive mains after prelims. At this point of time, if you feel you need to do some mains, the maximum that we suggest is about 90 minutes, 2 answers a day and nothing more than that. So these are some specific questions that we felt we should answer, considering the exam is up ahead in a month and a half. Going ahead, now that you know what is to be done, how do we plan a day? We need to have a plan, a concrete plan by which we set a strategy so that there is time management, effective resource allocation that you can be doing, and that helps to keep you on track. We are getting many distress messages telling that you're not able to keep yourself motivated. The first thing that you need to do yourself is to commit to a paper, which means plan your day. How do you plan a day? We will not give you a prototype of what you need to do first, what you need to do next, but these are the parts of a day, which means one is subject study. You know there are core subjects of history, economics, geography, politics, an extension, art and culture, environment, science and technology, and current affairs. So subject study and revision is very important part of the day. So 2 sessions or 3 sessions a day for that. 1 session definitely for current affairs revision and study as you definitely do. Test and practice are necessary. As you plan, maybe every day you take 10 questions of what we send across, 10 to 20 questions, or once in a week the full-fledged test that you take, to test and practice that you do. Answer writing, which we just spoke of, if you feel that this schedule is very routine and monotonous, to break that monotony, maybe you can take about a 1 hour out to write 1 answer or maximum 2 answers. Take out some questions, think, write. Don't worry about time management, but write. So that you break out the routine and you're applying what you're studying. So subject study, revision, current affairs, tests and practice, answer writing. After this, if you still feel you need to do something more, something that can help both your prelims and mains, study economic survey, India yearbook. At the end, if you still feel something else, at the maximum, the Niti Aayog reports. Now, this is no compilations but the original documents. You will be able to gather some authentic information, and this will definitely help both in prelims and mains. So this should be the order of importance in terms of how you plan a day, so that you will be able to effectively work and that the return on investment is high. So this is how you plan a day as such. Going ahead, if it is August, so that is an extreme condition that we are taking, considering the indications. If the exam goes to August, what should we do? Don't worry, all that you need to do is plan, rework your schedule and revise. So when we say plan, nothing concrete can be predicted as of now. Why? Because we don't know how the situation unfolds. So as of now, consider the exam is on the end of June, so prepare. 20th or 25th of May, you will have an exact date announced by UPSC. Considering that, we will come out with a very detailed schedule and how you need to rework. So we will help you plan out, rework your schedule and revise things. As of now, continue your study till dates get announced. Okay? So on that basis, we have one more question to answer. This question is something I'm sure most of you will have in mind. Problem is now, so prelims is deferred, yes. Will mains also be postponed? Will we get sufficient time for mains? If we put all the time for prelims as of now, as suggested, what about mains? So on that basis, the suggestion is simple. UPSC always gives you good enough time for mains. So there will not be immediate prelims and mains. We'll tell you why. Yes means also will be postponed. On what basis? Automatically means will get postponed because UPSC also needs some breathing space. After conducting a prelims, it needs at least 40 days for prelims results to be out. Considering all the calculations and the statistics that it has to work out, 40 days minimum of day time is required for the prelims results to be out. After that, to plan for mains, be it centers, conducting exams and everything else, it needs another 40-50 days. The question if mains will also be postponed, the answer is simply yes, it will be. Logic is simple. UPSC also needs some breathing space. So we expect at least as usual the calendar a 90 days time gap between prelims and mains. Why 90 days? After prelims, for the prelims results to be announced, about 40 days as usual time taken for all the calculations and statistics to be done. And after the results announcement, UPSC does need time to plan for its centers and conducting the exam. So 40 days to start with and another 40-50 days, so 90 days definite time. So if the exam is happening at end of June, your mains will be in October. If the exam is happening in August, your mains will be in December. And UPSC has experience of conducting the August-December exam 2013-2014, 2 years exams were scheduled August prelims, December mains. So there is nothing new for UPSC as such. You will definitely get good enough time. So the idea is simple. As of now, if the exam shifts to August, we will give you a revised strategy where we will help you out working more on GS at this point of time so that it helps both prelims and mains. And given the 90 days after prelims, you will exclusively concentrate more on optional and revise well on GS so that you balance your priorities. So August and after we'll come back with a similar strategy later, but considering the exam is in June, that is how you have to work about. So don't worry, even if prelims is postponed, mains you get sufficient time. So keep that thing in your mind, and this is pure logic. So the idea is simple. Absolutely no reason to worry. Tough times call for 3 important items. Something that the Prime Minister also always spoke of. Patience, perseverance, endurance. And all of you are aspiring bureaucrats. You will face situations tougher than these, worse than these every day when you're working on the ground. So this is how an officer gets prepared. It's not the final day of result. So patience, perseverance and endurance that you carry on, and on that basis take it ahead. Definitely with you, action and consistency will take things ahead. So again, there's a simple quote. If you're always trying to be normal, you will never know that amazing you can also be. This is a simple quote. On that basis, realize your potential. You can do wonders, and that wonders can start now. You have power, you have all the power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find the strength within. Every man is born strong, and this strength is internal also. All it requires is realization. I'm sure Ramayana is now very famous, not that Doordarshan has come back, but the Hanuman story is something all of you realize. He did not know that he was so powerful until he was told to be. So you have to do that self-realization. Realize that strength within you. Let go all the negativity and come out with a smiling face with a fresh energy as such. Going ahead, that's what we had to say. This is clear understanding of how the exam is going ahead. We are along with you in all times to come, be it with exams, be it with papers. Thank you so much. We leave you with the message. Times are still continuing. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you so much.